Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Vineyard Creative Online Festival that's being hosted from my living room, it's not my living room, it's my studio space. It's my office slash studio space in Kitchener, Ontario, Southern Ontario in Canada. I know we have people who are going to be joining us actually right across, certainly into the UK and parts of Europe, as well as the States, and then of course Canada, which is where we're hosting this from. And as I think you've already realized, I think you may have heard, those who were tuning in earlier, you may have heard me talking back and forth with somebody. So just to set our expectations, this is not going to be a super slick kind of, not a super slick sort of an experience. What this is going to look like for us actually is going to be just a celebration of some of the creativity that's happening in the various different outreaches and sort of the circles of our faith community within the Vineyard and beyond. It's not exclusively people who are necessarily going to Vineyard churches, but are friends of Vineyard churches or whatever, just people that we know and some that we don't. And so I'm really excited about this, but it is just going to be a community experience, and so there's probably going to be some technical hiccups that will happen from time to time. Yeah, I'm just really excited to be able to do this and to jump in. I am able to monitor the Facebook feed. The YouTube feed is a little bit actually more difficult for me. So to see. So if you comment on the YouTube feed, I may or may not get it. You can certainly do that. But on the Facebook feed, I actually can see at least some of those comments, and we have people who are monitoring that as well. And I share that to say that as people get up and share and interact and kind of bring up some of the various creativity that's coming out in this time, I just encourage you to interact. Let us know if you have thoughts, questions. This can be as interactive as we can make it. And so, So with that, I'm just going to kind of take a minute and center us and kind of set the tone for this space. And then we're going to actually invite Bonnie Bilsma, who's a children's pastor and heads up actually the children's ministry initiative within Vineyard Canada. And so Bonnie and then the next two presenters following her are going to actually bring out, they're going to bring out some creativity that's specifically directed for kids, and so I'm actually really excited about that. That's just going to be a really, I think, a great way for us to start this. And in our reflection about creativity in general, what we know is that we're not alone in our creative expression. In fact, in the most sort of infant moment of all of creation, when you have God who is fully and completely in himself, in the whatever the nothingness is. We know that the very first taste of God that we get to taste and experience is God the Creator. And so we see some of that actually, I think, in the life of the creativity of kids that are around us, and just this kind of natural predisposed inclination to make something that didn't exist before. And in a lot of ways, that's what we are celebrating in this time. And of course, we're also giving some pretty specific language to a time, to a season that is complicated. I don't know about you guys and what your COVID kind of experience has been. I know for us, it's been a challenging time. Lots of really positive pieces to it as well, to be honest. There are gifts that we've discovered. I don't think that COVID, this season of lockdown, is a gift in itself, or certainly not the disease. And I know probably there are people who are watching this who have been touched by this in direct and really painful ways. And there is going to be space for you to step into some of that through the language of some of our creative presentations and whatnot today. But there's also the unlooked for, unexpected gifts that we discover in this time. And in a lot of ways, we were reflecting, some of us who were gathered to just talk about how this whole event is going to function. And there was this idea, this sort of moment where we just kind of realized, I'm not sure that apart from kind of COVID, this thing, I don't know that we would even have something like this, something like an expression or a gathering like this. This is uniquely possible in some ways because of this weird season that we're in. And so it's one of the unlooked for gifts. So I just want to declare that and to say, that's something that we can actually celebrate in this. Before we go too much further, I also, and I'm in the habit of doing this. I pastor as well. I pastor at the Guelph Vineyard Church, which is just down the road from us, and people that we love and have seen daily. Actually, we see each other in some ways more often than we did before, but I haven't been with. And so we've been gathering in Zoom calls daily for moments of reflection, mutual encouragement, prayer together, that sort of thing. But the thing that we're doing every day is we're lighting a candle. And I want to do that here as well. And part of it is because we get to actually share space. We get to share, we don't get to share space. We get to share ones and zeros, the digital world. But what we do get to share in the analog world, in the real world, is we're sharing time. We are sharing time. And so lighting the candle is one way to sort of mark the passage of time and that shared experience. It also, in some ways, I think, creates for us a little bit of a sense of holiness. And I do want to say that this is, I think, a holy space. There's vulnerability. You guys, everybody who's going to present is opening up some part of who they are to you, to whoever is viewing in whatever capacity you're engaging with this time. And so as an act of respect, but also an act of communion, because guess what? The Holy Spirit is also so very pleased with the beautiful work that's being done, and so this is also a celebration of the holy encounter, where God, the capital C Creator, comes among us lowercase c creators, which is, by the way, all of us, right? We use the term creative to describe a person who feels uniquely compelled or vocationally compelled to do creative work. But honestly, we all have this. We all bear this image together. And so God, the great Creator, comes and spends time among us, those who are created in His image to be creators too. And so that's a part of just saying, hey, this is holy space. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to light this candle. And those who know me know that it's a beeswax candle. It's the smell of prayer. And with the wooden match, these are very visceral things that are part of the beauty of, just this space. So Lord, we invite you into this moment together. And Lord, this is going to be a journey. We don't know all of the moving parts of this time together. But Lord, we pray that you would lead in our spirits, and that you would actually weave us together in unique and profound and unexpected ways today. During this gathering, this festival of creativity, this festival that says that the Lord is speaking to us, and He's doing it in creative and unexpected, surprising, and occasionally slightly shocking even ways. And so, Lord, come. And just so you can see it, because it's a precious little candle. So I'm just gonna have that kind of burning off in the corner here. It might burn out to nothing by the time we're done here. But anyway, yeah. So we're just gonna take a couple minutes. In just 2 or 3 minutes here, we're gonna have Bonnie join us. actually, I'm just going to, and this is part of what you'll need to bear with. Obviously, we don't have a creative team kind of in the house on this. We're doing this all with a cobbled together sort of technology. And so every now and then I'm going to be sort of just moving into producer mode as well. And so I'm just going to let Bonnie know that she's going to be coming up in just a minute. Yeah. So, and we're going to tease this out a little bit more in terms of the creative space, but I just want to, just before Bonnie comes on, again, just reiterate that we can see comments. So if you have questions or even just something that's encouraging that you kind of want to voice in, if I see it, I can't promise that I'll see all the comments, but I'll, we can introduce those into the conversation throughout all of this, really. But yeah, let's just let's enter into this moment, into this festival, and also we're going to do this as graciously as we can. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Bonnie over, and we are going to see how this thing actually works. You ready? Okay, here we go. And so here we have Bonnie, and just give me a second. I'm just gonna pull you up onto the screen here, so everyone else gets to see you too. And I'm gonna set this up so that they can see both of us, just for at least right now here.
Okay.
But thank you, Bonnie. I am so. Here's the reality. I reached out to Bonnie. What was it? Just a few days ago, really, and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
we have a couple of children's performers who are going to bring some stuff. We've got a children's performer in particular, Mr. Ray's, is going to be on next, and then we also have someone." Carolyn, who's going to be actually reading a story that she's written for COVID Heroes for kids. And so I just thought, Bonnie has such a deep bench when it comes to the life of our kids, and I know is just so just a very creative person. And so, hey Bonnie, just introduce yourself and let's have a conversation, and then we can show some of these slides and dialogue about some of this. So, yeah, welcome.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Chris. I was saying to Chris a little bit earlier, I'm just so thankful that he's pushing out with this in this season, because I think the more connection we're getting with one another, the better. I'm Bonnie Bilesma, and I live in Kamloops, BC, and I attend the Kamloops Vineyard Church, where David and Debbie Toom are the pastors, and have just really enjoyed coming alongside them, helping lead our community and oversee our children and our families. And I've also done some work regionally and nationally with our kids, and mostly with our kids' people as well, just helping to connect people and resource people. So I have two little children myself. My husband, Brant, and I tried for many years to have children, and then through in vitro fertilization actually have been successful to have two children. Hooray, yeah. We have our little girl, Ayla, who's just turned 3, and Asher, who's just about 9 months old. So life is full on with kids right now.
That's awesome. So Bonnie, I don't know how you want to do this. I know you have some really great thoughts to kind of just share with regards to the creativity of kids, and you've sent me some slides, some images that I can pull up as a slideshow, just that capture some things. So I don't know how you want to do this. I can kind of give you the floor, and you can share, and then whenever you want to bring those slides up, just let me know, and I can
Sure.
put that into the feed. So
Yep.
does that
That
sound
sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the floor, and you just tell me what to do. We'll take it from there.
Okay. So as I was thinking about what to share, I thought, kids are so very creative, and I think they're innately creative. I think they're born as creative beings. And a while ago, I was working here at our university, at Thompson Rivers University. I was working with on a research project with a team of people, and one of them was an early childhood educator who shared with me about a whole approach to childcare that comes out of Reggio Emilia in Italy. And one of the ideas that they have, which has really stayed with me over the years, is called the 100 Languages of Children. And it's this idea that children are born with this vast number of ways in which they communicate, ways in which they express themselves creatively. And so, they've coined this term 100 languages of children. Every child you meet, believes and thinks and actually functions as a painter, as a dancer, as someone who's able to express themselves through art in so many different ways. And they just think they can, and they just do it. And then, as we all know, I think we've all been on that journey as adults, where slowly, as time goes along, we realize, or we learn through, our educational models, or just our culture, or our peer groups, that, hey, we might not be very good at such and such. But every child out there, every little child that you meet, dances and sings and paints and draws and creatively tells stories, and their imaginations are just functioning at such a high level. And I think to myself, that's the image of God that they are expressing. That sometimes, unfortunately, as time goes along, it's like they start to lose some of those languages of expression. And I had a moment with Ayla just recently where we were drawing together, we were coloring, and she looks at me, she goes, "I'm not very good at coloring." And I couldn't believe it when she said that, because I thought, I've never expressed that to her. How did that even, where did that thought even come from? But I think in some ways, when we talk about this phrase, "a little child shall lead them," that Jesus shared with us, I think in terms of creativity, children have leading us, really, without even trying or without being aware of it, showing us that each one of us is creative, as we are made in the image of God, and that each of us has more ways to express ourselves than we can even imagine. And so I've been inspired by children to just think about, what are some ways that I can share myself with the world creatively that I haven't even dreamed of yet? Because there's more ways than what I've felt that I've been capable or confident in. So in terms of beginning today, even with a focus on children, thank you. I was just hand delivered a beautiful latte that Brent made by my daughter Ayla. Good timing. For those of us in BC, it's still pretty early on a Saturday morning. Anyways, it's just, I think it's fitting that we're starting with this focus on children today. And within our community here in Kamloops, we have a lovely group of families and children. And I was thinking about even this season of COVID, where we're all walking through this pandemic and social isolation. And I am imagining, and I'm seeing within our families here, a heightened sense of creativity. We're having to think about how we connect with one another in new ways. Kids are having to do school online, and they're navigating all these new technologies, but I think these new ways of expressing themselves as well. And so I imagine that one of the things that the Spirit of God is wanting to do in this season is just raise the water level of creativity in our lives, helping us to think outside of boxes that we didn't even know we had. And kids, again, are probably just naturally leading the way on this. Here's my bedhead girl, Ayla. She works up creatively on amazing hairdos every morning.
That's amazing.
Hi, Ayla. So one of the ways that I've seen creative expression flourish, and I don't know if this has been true across our cities and towns and places, where we have our vineyard communities all across Canada, but one of the ways has been window art for us, where when in this season where we can't necessarily connect with one another very closely physically, that people are posting pictures on Facebook and other social media avenues where they're showing us the work that they've done in their own homes, just within their normal school days or outside of that for special events like Easter or Mother's Day is coming up. And a lot of that has looked like beautiful window art that people can see as they drive by. And another thing that I've noticed, because we've tried to get outside a whole lot more even than usual, just to survive this season, and seeing rock art everywhere where people are leaving messages of hope and encouragement. They're painting rocks, they're leaving them in formations or putting little pictures that they've created on these rocks. Ayla and I and Brent worked on a little window piece around Easter. And again, this was something we'd never done before. It was new to us, and I think it was just such a sweet experience of doing a piece of art together. We've actually never done that. This was the first time that we'd ever done that. Ayla's done pieces of art, and Brent and I individually have, but we worked on this piece together just for Easter. We did a little, almost like a stained glass window idea with a cross in the center. And it took a while. It was a harder project than I thought it would be. And as soon as you're adding children into the mix, it's going to be messier and more fun, and honestly more beautiful at the end of it all. And so that was a fun project that we worked on. Some of our other families, I think for school projects, have worked on window art as well. And so it's been fun to just see the output of creative expression in our community. And I imagine in communities across our country too in this season.
Yeah, it's just to resonate with that. I have certainly seen some of that happening. In fact, my wife Liv, just yesterday, in fact, put up a sign. We have a good relationship with our neighbors, and she put up a message on our window for them that they would see. And then about an hour later, they put up a message for us, and it was just this expression of love and care. And of course, we can talk over the fence, but it was something that resonated with that. Like, who would have thought that would take on the kind of meaning that it has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want me to bring up the slideshow just to sort of demonstrate some of those things?
Sure.
Would that be good
Sure.
now? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let me just see. I'm hoping that this works. This is a little bit of a new go for me here, but and I'm just going to let you see this, Bonnie. Hopefully this will. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of see what's coming up here as well.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
you can see that. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to speak to some of these slides as they come up.
Sure.
And I can just kind of go through them.
Yeah. So this was the beginning of our little art project that Ayla and Brent and I did here. And we just used painter's tape and did a little bit of a design. And then once we'd done the painter's tape, we just used basic children's paint. And it's actually still up here. So we haven't washed it off our window. I'm curious how that part of the process will go. But we started to fill in the different areas with paint. And you'll see through the window there, Brent and I live up on a bluff in Kamloops, so it overlooks the valley. Beautiful. We're not right on a street side, so that's been a bit unfortunate. We've had a few people come by and just take a look in our front yard area, but I think for the people living on regular city streets, it's been that much more, like you were saying, Chris, in your scenario, that much more encouraging to the community.
And hearing lots of stories like that too. And it's amazing how this is the prep for the creative process, and yet it's art in itself too, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let me just see here if this is going to let me. There we go. And so that's the next step then in the process, is that right?
Yeah. So here we had finished the painting, but the painter's tape is still on.
Yeah.
And you're right. Every step of the way was actually still a piece of art. And I actually was reluctant to take the painter's tape off because I liked it so much. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a decent view, but the way that it's showing up outside, this is from the inside of the house, but outside it was just that much more vibrant in terms of those colors coming through.
Amazing. That's awesome.
And so here's just a piece of, um, I didn't capture the whole entire image, but you get a sense of once I've taken the painter's tape off.
That's
And I don't know if you can see clearly, but of course, Ayla was sort of working on the lower ones there, and just the merging of colors that she was doing. And she just, of course, loved this idea. We get to paint on the windows. I'll have to try a wall one day. She'll be over the moon.
Yeah, no kidding. You know what I see too, which is really interesting to me, is how your creativity is actually merging with kind of the reality of the outside. And so
Yeah.
it's just interesting kind of, I mean, juxtaposition is not the right word because it's kind of beautiful. Of course, you know have a beautiful view as well from what I can see there, but there is sort of this. It just speaks to me somehow of kind of what sometimes our creativity does. You know, we take and we look and we create these expressions of in particularly in this case just the centrality of Jesus and the cross, and I see just an explosion of life happening around that,
Yeah.
and then seeing kind of the world as it is kind of bleeding through back to us. I actually find that to be very, very striking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Another thing we did right around Easter actually was Brent fashioned a cross made out of some trees and tree branches from our property. And we've been doing in our community, we've been doing nightly worship
Yeah.
for our community, just jumping on doing a live stream every night for about 15 minutes, up to 45 minutes. And it's just been a way for us to connect with our community. But as Easter was coming, he made this little cross, and then he and Ayla worked on a little, almost like a crown of thorns,
Yeah.
but like a little crown made with, again, with branches that we worked around into the shape of a wreath. And then on Christmas, on Easter Day, um, I just filled that with flowers. And, this was a new project that probably if we were still meeting and gathering in our church building and sort of all the hullabaloo and the busyness that would have entailed, we never would have done these sorts of projects at home and tried these new creative things. So I really appreciated that
Yeah.
process
No,
this year.
that's wonderful. I'm just noticing a couple of comments that are coming up here. By the way, we have people who are joining us from as far flung as South Africa. I think I saw somebody shout out. Yeah, love from South Africa. So that's lovely. Thank you for tuning into this. It's such a gift.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so just there's some comments here talking about how art therapy has really kind of healed some and brought healing to people as adults. And so just kind of reflecting on this, the inner child, like you talked about initially, this kind of voice that comes and kind of stamps down the ability to express what we're feeling and how we're understanding the world around us, and the freedom that comes. And Krista Hyde, who will be presenting later on in one of the later sessions, I think, I know, she's done a lot of processing as well, in the a lot of processing as well in the
I've been inspired by her window art too, actually,
yeah.
that she's been sharing
Yeah,
online.
and she's got some of that
Fantastic.
she's going to be sharing too. So
Yeah.
I'm getting a note from someone here that's saying that the feed isn't quite working properly. I don't know if that's the case. I see that from Colleen, but we'll try to get that figured out. But this is part of the grace thing, recognizing that we are just leaning in on the realities of tech. Bonnie, if it's okay, I'm just going to kind of cycle through the remainder of the images,
Sure.
looking at the time here. I want to move Mr. Ray's over in just a moment, but thank you so much. It's been such a great way to establish this kind of a foundation for us here this morning, and how we're going to carry throughout the whole day. And some of the work that comes up, some of it is very lighthearted, and some of it gets pretty heavy, pretty serious. And so just to speak to the childlikeness of this, and to keep our posture oriented towards that. I think that the childlikeness of God, particularly as creatives, sure does. It sure does. It's the image of God, like you said. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm going to cycle through.
Such a can-do. They have such a can-do approach.
That's right. That's right. They sure do. And so here's some more images that are coming up. I think I forgot to put us back onto the feed actually when we were talking, so it may have looked like the images were frozen. I particularly love some of the just the use of colors that we see,
Yeah.
and also the silhouette. Gosh, what a lovely image.
Yeah. And these are people and families and children within our communities that wouldn't necessarily call themselves artists,
Right.
but that in this season, they're really just pushing out to communicate with other people and connect with other people and put a little bit of themselves out into the world that way.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for this. Okay, so I'm just going to pull us back up here. So thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you for getting up early and in British Columbia to join us here. I mean, I guess it's not ridiculously early, but
no, thank goodness.
Anyway, so I'm just going to I'm going to pull myself back up on the feed here for a moment, and I'm going to send Bonnie out, and we're going to welcome Mr. Reyes in just a second. And so let's see if this works. This is kind of our first foray here into let's see here. And here we have Mr. Reyes. Hey, man. Oh, you're muted.
Good morning.
There we go. Go. We gotcha.
Everything good?
Yeah.
Do you want me up and down, or do you want me?
That's just, you know what, that'll work just fine. Yeah, I'm gonna pull you. So I just realized that I hadn't put you onto the feed yet here. So here, let's do this. We're just gonna we'll come on together for a moment so everyone can see both of us. And hey, I just want to welcome you here. So Mr. Reyes is a children's performer, and you're from the Calgary area, correct?
Yeah, Calgary, North Calgary Vineyard.
North Calgary Vineyard, awesome. So you have a love for performing for children, and anything you want to say to introduce your piece, or do you just want to jump right in?
Sure, yeah. I'm Mr. Reyes, and I'm a kids entertainer, kind of kid-focused missionary. And I've been doing this for 10 years. And basically, I lost all my contracts with schools and everything. And now I am doing things in front of my iPhone. So God's been really good. And just to share an art thing, this is so exciting. I think that God always speaks to about art. My son Micah is here. Say hi, Micah. And we started a thing called Mr. Reyes and the Kettle Buddies TV show. Boys and girls, I want to show you my lion guitar. Do you see that?
It's awesome.
In the Bible, it says that the Lion of the tribe of Judah is a lion, and he's a lion of praise. And 4 years before this, I did a bit of a coloring sheet. And this lion is exactly like the lion here.
Wow.
And that was just, I found this during COVID-19 in my quarantine through an old songbook. So just want to let you know that God speaks through art, boys and girls and kids.
And I need to ask, did you paint that yourself?
No, my friend Masha did.
That's a beautiful piece in itself. What a beautiful piece of art. That's awesome.
She was really stressed out because I said, could you please paint a white lion on here? And she said, I don't know what kind of lion to paint. And I said, I trust you. And isn't it funny how God worked things out?
That's great. Well, I'm gonna fade myself out here, audio, and take it away, and then we can have a chat after, Mr. Reyes. So go for it.
Excellent, thanks. Okay, guys. Just before I share my story in art, I wanted to show you the Cuddle Buddies. So this is Carol, Mustache Carol, we call her, and my son Micah. He was really changed by this whole experience of being here with quarantine and being at home and in this new environment. Whoops. So Micah, you want to talk a bit? How has your relationship with God changed since this has happened?
Well, I used to not have any relationship with God, and I just used to think, oh, well, I think he exists. Wow, cool. So, and then me and my dad started praying a lot more and speaking to him, and he started showing me a lot of pictures. Cool.
And with the pictures we were using for our show, Brad Jerstock's book, Children, Can You Hear Me? And we did this at North Langley Vineyard. And kids, the basic thing is, just like art, God made your imagination so that he could meet you there with it. So I just want to encourage you guys to use your imagination to talk to God and be close to God. Now, one of the art things I just want to share, Micah is my head writer for my show now that came out of this. And what was your favorite story that you made, Micah, for this Mr. Ray's and the Cuddle Buddy show?
The Cuddle Buddies and the Mountain. So these are 3 Cuddle Buddies.
Yep.
And let's get Super Cuddle Buddy. So let's merge these.
What are their names, buddy? Show them their names.
This is Pedro.
Hey, Pedro.
Wait, no, this is Pedro. This is Frank. And this is Stripes. Okay, they're all going to merge together.
Dun, dun, dun.
Super Cuddle Buddy.
Yay. And what was the main point of that story, your favorite story, the Cuddle Buddy in the Mountain?
So they were the Cuddle Buddies and Super Cuddle Buddy and Potato Cat had lost their new toy. So they had to get it back from a cat made of stone on top of a mountain that took it, even though it wasn't his.
Yeah, cool, Mike. Thanks for sharing. So listen, I just wanted to share that because that was just art that can happen with theater that boys and girls you can do at home. And as well, I wrote a song called The Sad Song because I was feeling a bit sad about being home, and so was Micah and some of the other friends, and I'm sure you guys feel that too sometimes. And something else that happened was they laid off 60% of our CBE staff. So that means all the child teachers' aides and counselors and stuff. And so when they canceled everybody, I'm so sad. I wrote this sad song, and we're going to play it for you right now. And sometimes music can be happy or it can be sad. So let's do this sad song first. And just see how you can feel with this. I'm sad, so sad. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to not know what to say. When it hurts like this, I can't resist telling someone, maybe my dad or mom, so I can work it out, so I can scream and shout, work it out, so I can scream and shout. I've had a bad day. I've had a bad day. And that's okay. So that's one song that came out of helping us feel emotions with songs and art. And the other one, which is cool, is if you want to stand up with me, this song is called Living Room Dance Party. And what happened was God talked to me and said, every day at 6 o'clock, we're going to rock out and dance and sing and yell and have a party and get rid of all that energy so we can work out our emotions, because that's how God is. And it says in Romans 12:15 to be happy with those who are happy and to be sad and to weep with those who weep. So I just want us to come collectively together, and we're going to do this dance party, and we're going to let out our energy. So come and stand up with me. And Mike is going to draw me on the djembe. And it goes like this. When I'm feeling bad, when I'm feeling sad, this is a place that I can be found. Let out the energy so I can be free. I'm gonna rock and roll till I can't take it anymore. This is my dance floor in the living room. This is my dance floor. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is my dance floor in the living room. This is my dance floor. Get all that energy up, guys. When I'm feeling bad, when I'm feeling sad, this is the place that I can be found. Let out the energy so I can be free. I'm gonna rock and roll till I can take it anymore. This is my dance in the living room. thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the Vineyard Arts Festival. So excited for you guys. Boys and girls, keep making art.
Thanks, Mr. Reyes. That was really, really awesome, man. I so appreciated that. I'm just going to come on here for a minute, and we have 2 minutes or so before we bring on our next presenter, Carolyn Neary, who is going to be reading a story to us. But I really, some of the feedback that's been coming in here has been just a lot of encouragement about how you've encouraged the emotions in such a healthy, I think a really healthy and encouraging and validating way. And so that was just a real resonance coming through on the feed from that. Somebody here earlier says, yeah, Jesus loves our emotions. Jesus created them. And so I just, it's such a great thing to have that kind of, to hear that together. So just a quick question, and we have maybe about 1 minute, but what drew you into wanting to perform for kids and do this? What was this? Was there kind of a moment where it was like, yes, this is the thing?
Long story short, I was in YWAM, Mac Jardine, bunch of other pastors.
Oh, Mac. Oh, I miss Mac. Yeah.
Mac was my spiritual dad. Joy Best, she would always be, you got to do this for the kids. And God showed me in a vision that I was called to pastor kids at 21. And after ups and downs, it's really starting to work.
Wow.
So I'm able to just be a watchman for children. That's my new thing, Psalm 78.
All right. Well, and I know that you and I chatted yesterday, and you indicated that just COVID has presented some new challenges for you in terms of some of the decisions that you were making. And so I just want to say a quick prayer for you and invite those who are watching as well. Lord, thanks for Mr. Reyes. Thank you for the work that he's doing. Lord, we pray that you'd surround him with favor, and God, in some of the unique needs that have come up for him in the space of just the challenges of the lockdown and COVID. And Lord, we just pray that you would surround him, that you would provide for him and his family. And yeah, Lord, we just thank you for this man and for his family. What a great way to start this morning off. So much affection, Mr. Reyes. I'm going to send you back over to what we're calling the green room, and then on the Zoom.
Bless everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, man. What a gift to us. Okay, I'm gonna and then we're bringing in Carolyn Neary here. So let's just see a moment here. Hello. We got you muted here. Let me see if you might need to unmute yourself. There we go.
How's that? You can hear me?
Oh, that's great. Hey, Carolyn, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This has been so far. This has been a really wonderful experience, and I'm just so grateful to have you join us here. I know we chatted yesterday about this unique, and you were sort of describing to me that there's a bit of an unlooked for, unexpected response to what you're going to be presenting today. So why don't we just want to say hello, introduce yourself, and then you can jump over. I'll give you the floor, and you can do what you're going to do, and then I can come back on afterwards, and we can maybe chat for a minute. So does that sound good?
That sounds excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. My name is Carolyn, and I'm from Calgary. I go to Epic Vineyard. And the reason I'm here today is because I had the opportunity to write a children's book. It's actually the third children's book that I've done, but this one is, I'll just show you a little picture of it. Can you see that? Here we go. Cat is Scared, which hopefully we'll get a chance to read it yet today. So if there's any kids out there that want to gather around to hear the story of Cat is Scared. And would you like to hear the background of this story? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm a mom of a respiratory therapist, and so I see every day the stresses that take place for our frontline heroes and our frontline workers during this global pandemic. And of course, I really wanted to do something to help. I know we all want to do something to help, but this was something I was able to do. I'd heard an interview and they had said that the frontline people were asked, hey, what can we do for you? We want to do something for you. And they said in that interview, if you want to do something for us, do something for our children. And I thought, I can do that. I can do that. So I just asked the Lord if he would give me a story, and he put a story on my heart. So I phoned the local publisher, printer, distributor that I've been using before in some of my books here in Calgary, with Blitz Print is his name. And Kevin at Blitz Print said, I love this idea. Let's do it. So I got a hold of my niece who did the illustrations. And from there, the book has just rolled out so quickly, I can't quite catch my breath.
That's just quite a process, and just to sort of see. And you were mentioning that you've had some kind of like some TV interviews and some radio stuff. That's really, really amazing to sort of see that taking place. Yeah, I would love for you to read your book for us. That would be really brilliant if you would do that. That'd be great.
I would love to. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, so now what I'm going to try to do is hold the book up so people can see the pictures and still read it. So please bear with me if it's kind of wobbly. Let's see what we can do. You tell me if I need to adjust. So this is Cat is Scared. One day, Cat climbed a tall tree. She went higher and higher. Cat was happy to climb to the top of the tree. It was very high. Cat looked far down to the bottom of the tree. She was scared. Cat wanted to get out of the tree. The tree looked dark and the leaves seemed so thick. She was very scared. Cat put one of her fluffy paws on a branch to climb down the tree. The branch moved and it made Cat feel worried. Cat had climbed so far up the tree that she felt lost and tired. She missed her home. Cat felt all alone. She could hear her friends at the bottom of the tree. They were calling her name. They seemed so far away. Cat did not know what to do. She did not know how to get down from the tree. Cat felt lonely. Cat looked up and saw a bright blue sky and the big yellow sun. It gave Cat a good idea. Cat now had hope. She did not feel so scared. Cat kept looking up at the
Something here. When I just for people who are out there, if you can feed back to me, does this audio is this working better for anyone? Can you hear now? Um, this is the family moment, everyone, that I warned us about. Um, yeah, because it really should be there. From my standpoint, it should be working. Just got audio. Okay, so um, that is very strange. Okay, so we now have audio again. My apologies for that, Carolyn. So people missed what you just said.
Okay, that's no problem. I can say it again.
Yeah. I think that would be great if you would. And yes, so people won't be able to see you while you're talking, but they will be able to hear you. So let's go with that for the moment.
That's great. Well, I am not sure exactly where the audio went off. So let me just start by saying that this book is really, it's lovingly dedicated to the heroes, our frontline heroes of the COVID-19 pandemic, all those frontline workers. And it's my hope and my goal that we could get this little book that would go global, to be able to put into the hands of all of our frontline heroes, just as a thank you, because, you know, when we feel that we're appreciated, it's amazing how much more we can just have that energy to do the things that the tasks of the day. And it's already been incredible how far this has gone. They're actually going to even put this book into French and Spanish now, but we did get some orders from France and from the States, and really, you know, the creativity of how we could get this in the hands of our frontline heroes. So, for example, maybe if people wanted to order some, they could just drop it off at the local police station or the fire department, or take it to the grocery stores, carry it in your purse, and when you see a frontline hero, just hand it to them and thank them. I also just wanted to mention that proceeds from this book are also going to be going to the Ronald McDonald House and helping our vulnerable little patients there as well. So it's kind of a double blessing to be able to get this book out, to thank our heroes, but also to help with Ronald McDonald House.
Thanks so much for this. I know that it sounds like maybe the audio cut out for the last little part of the of the book, I'm afraid. But if Carolyn,
well, that's good. Then people can order it to find out how it ends.
Exactly. So, Carolyn, do feel free to hop over onto the Facebook feed after this and just maybe put the link in as well. Like, you can link in where people can get access to it. I just really appreciate you helping to narrate for our kids the space of gratitude for people who are doing this kind of work and just really seeing what's happening there. And I think it's just so incredibly powerful that you've answered the call to that. And so I know for those, I'm seeing some comments. I'm really sorry, people, for the sake of the other presenters. I do need to move it along, but we'll call it a teaser. And I hope that that's okay.
And I just conclude just by saying one last thing, and that is,
absolutely,
you know, children, they represent our generations, right? And the littlest tykes right now, they won't remember the COVID-19 pandemic, but through the generations, and perhaps through even this book, there might be the memory that can be spoken about our frontline heroes to our children. So it's part of a generational blessing too. So thank you everyone for the support. Thank you so much for anyone who would order it and hand it out. I do believe the anointing of God goes with this book into people's homes. So thank you so much for your support.
That is.
And thank you so much, Chris, for what you've done here. This is incredible. You're a hero.
well, thank you. So far so good, apart from the audio glitches today. If it's the worst that it gets today, people, I mean, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed the reading, but for those who weren't able to capture all of it, but anyway, yeah, just thanks for this. This is a gift for me too. Okay, so I'm going to. So Carolyn, you're just going to go back into the room there, and then you can kind of leave and go to the Facebook feed. I'm going to welcome Adam, and we're going to test out the audio with the other screen, and hopefully it's come back. I hope I fixed that issue. So anyway, thank you so much, Carolyn. Really appreciate this, and all the best with the book. I'm glad to hear that you're getting noticed. That's a really good thing. So take care. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
And again, yes, somebody is asking, are the sessions being recorded? Hello, Adam.
Hiya.
Hey, I'm just
Am
gonna.
I live? Can I just check? Am I live?
The people can hear you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Can't see
Yeah.
you
Okay.
yet.
That's good.
But I'm just going to respond to a couple of questions on the feed here. The sessions are basically going to be available the way that you're seeing them, so they will remain on Facebook Live or on YouTube in kind of their current form. And there will be a link, a question there. There will be a link posted. I think Carolyn's going to jump over to the feed. I don't have the link handy, but she's going to post the link in the comments feed to be able to order the book. So yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, everyone, for the ongoing steady feedback. We're going to do a quick test here, Adam. We lost audio during part of the presentation last time.
Okay.
I think I have it fixed. I'm hoping that people can see both of us and actually hear us at the same time. So I'm going to put us both up on the feed, and I'm going to wait, and we can kind of chat, but let's not say anything important until somebody says, yes, I can hear you and see both of you, because that would be a real win for me. So if somebody can just comment if you can hear us, and if we're gone back to being muted, that would be really helpful to know. So
I'll be talking. Oh, I've appeared on my iPad next to me. That's interesting. Cool.
We have audio. Okay, this is great.
We're good.
So people can both see and hear you. This is positive. It's certainly a big part of the story here. So Adam, welcome here. You are joining us from the UK. It's so good to have you on the call, man.
Thank you for having me, for accepting a foreigner.
Are you kidding? There are no foreigners
it's
on the
really
internet.
cool to take part.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be presenting here in a moment via pre-recorded video.
I'm live. I'm gonna try and share my screen actually.
Yes, that's right. I got my notes all screwy. Yes, of course it is. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a photographer. I work commercially in the UK for businesses and design agencies, and I predominantly work with people in what's called lifestyle storytelling, which sounds very grand, but I basically take as authentic as possible pictures of generally real people within their businesses, or real people in situations for businesses and brands to tell stories and share sort of brand values with people. So that's kind of the day job. But I'm going to be sharing a personal project that I worked on it's called First 100 Days, and it is a piece of work where I was speaking to a stranger each day for the first 100 days of our new government in the UK. So we had an election at the end of last year. You've probably heard of Boris Johnson. He's our Prime Minister. And so I photographed a different person each day, and I talked to the people I was meeting about hope. And I was asking them what they're hoping for. And it's a semi-political piece, but I'm more interested in talking to people about what their real hopes are. We've lived in a time in the UK where everything's become sloganized. I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, but there's slogans everywhere, and we're told what we should be thinking and what everyone else is thinking a lot. So I was interested in finding out what people who live and work around me are actually hoping for. So that's the piece in a nutshell.
That's great. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Ever since we got the submission that you put in, and I followed the link through, and I thought this is going to be a very interesting project to see, and again, just the universality of the conversation about hope is such a, we can kind of get pulled into the fragmenting of politics and all of the kind of different ideological tensions and whatever, and yet hope is something that is very universal, right? I mean, and at the end of the day, is that not something that we really always are sharing, is that we have hopes? And what's crazy to think about, maybe, I mean, there's a lot of polarity that exists, I think, in much of the world right now. But I bet you if you sit down and talk about what our hopes are, that I bet you there's a lot of resonance. It may, our methodology might look differently. So anyways, I'm interested to see this. So the floor is yours if you want to pull up your screen share. And I'm feeling pretty confident that this is maybe even going to work. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, excellent. I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to storm off in a huff. Everything is peaceful and calm here. So, screen share. Here we are, Keynote. Okay, does that come through to you?
It is, yes.
All right. Oh, this is good. Cool. Okay, I'm just going to I can't make your face smaller, actually. I've lost my mouse. Never mind. Oh, yeah, and Chris and everyone else watching, like, if you've got any questions or anything, like, comes to mind that you want to ask, totally feel free to interrupt me and wave at Chris, and Chris, feel free to sort of pipe up. I'm sat in my kitchen, and the kids are out in the other room, so I'm basically talking to myself. It feels. So yeah, this is First 100 Days, which is a conversation and a portrait with one person each day for the first 100 days of Boris Johnson's Conservative government. And it's asking, everyone got asked the same question: what are you hoping for? So I've pulled together a 20 or so of the folks that I met. I'm just going to let this sit whilst you guys read it. But this was guy number one, and this was in the run-up to Christmas. So he's working for a charity that helps the homeless who were busking in our market town centre. I live in a market town. It's very rural. We've got a cattle market with cows and various livestock being sold every week and things. And this is our town square. So it's really interesting, the sort of the commonality. I think you used the phrase, Chris, from the time that we've come through. The only thing we talked about, it seemed, in the media in the UK was Brexit, which is this awful phrase, this word that's been created to explain us leaving the European Union from a referendum in 2016. And that's all we've been speaking about, and it's become really polarised. And then we had an election where, again, things were getting completely polarised about who should be running the country and what should happen and things. And I was half expecting to be getting a lot of people repeating the phrases and the slogans back to me. But as we skip through, and I hope I'm not skipping too quick,
this feels really good. Yeah.
You'll probably start to see that there's a lot of commonality amongst the citizens in this country.
I love the phrase that finished out with you've come to a hopeful person today, or you've met a hopeful person today. That was a powerful little way to close off that segment.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, so I'd be this sort of thing is very easy to go and approach the people that you're most comfortable speaking to. You go up to people basically who live in the same echo chamber or look like they do. So I was very conscious that I needed to try and speak to as many different people from as many different backgrounds as I could. And it got to the point where it actually becomes really addictive doing this. by nature, I'm an introvert, and the thought of going up to like strangers in a work situation is absolutely fine because people are there to work with me, and I'm quite happy directing them and telling them what to do. But to go up to a stranger in the street, now this guy Robert, he's a farmer. He's got really bad arthritis in his arms, in his hands, and this is at our cattle market. And I'm not a farmer, and don't tend to dress like a farmer. So going up to strangers and saying, "Can I take your picture and talk to you about what you're hoping for?" It puts you in a vulnerable place, but
no kidding.
It's amazing the conversations that you end up having. Yeah.
So is this an airport?
This is St Pancras in London.
Okay.
I've been down in the capital for some work, and I was just catching my train home. And some of the people, it literally is, you've tried all day and you've spoken to maybe 2 or 3 people as the opportunities have risen, and they've said no. And then you literally are like, they'll do, I'll grab them. So there's an element where you kind of, it's just total happenstance about who you manage to speak to. But it's been really heartwarming to see the similarities that we've got.
Yeah. No kidding. Some Mark Zane on the feed here has posted a link to your website, so thank you for that, Mark. Got some comments here, just some people responding saying, "Hey, this feels like a really great invitation to prayer." Just kind of hearing people's language of hope, just really, really cool to see that resonating in that direction. Just compelled into response, which is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say that the majority of people who I spoke to, they had some hopes for themselves, but their hopes were outward looking, and they were for others. Arthur here is concerned about the climate. Being a farmer, obviously, he sees the climate face to face every day. Yeah. He doesn't work in an office. It left me hopeful at the end of it as well.
Yeah. I imagine it would. One of the things that I'm reflecting on, and I'm just, again, some really, really encouraging comments here. People are really resonating with this on the feed. One of the things that occurs to me is how different this project would have been, and even probably how different expressions would have been if you had asked people what they were concerned about.
Absolutely.
And just the reflection on the season that we're in now, the conversation between what we're hopeful for and what we're concerned about are probably, that's just a thing that resonates for me. I don't know. I mean, you spent time interviewing people, so I don't know if you have any comments on what.
Well, I think like the question, what are you hoping for? It kind of the answer's revealing. It's not just a case of I'm hoping to, I don't know, I've got an exam coming up, I hope I do well on the exam. There's always something else in there, and sometimes there's a wee prompt just to draw out a little bit more of what the person's what's behind that hope, and it's a little bit works like a bit like a mirror. You kind of look in the mirror of the hope, but then the reflection that you see back from the answer is actually talking about their concern and what they're anxious about and fearful for.
I'm seeing a great question here from Erica Kabuka, who will be one of our contributors later as well, and she's saying, "This is wonderful. Just listening and reading, empathy is bubbling to the surface, like she's experiencing a surge of empathy." Did you experience this similarly? Did it grow mutual compassion in you as the photographer?
Yeah, absolutely. It's some people would open up quite a lot. But there was a postman that I met as I was walking down to work. I've got a studio in the town that I live, and I was just chatting to him, and it was coming up to the Tyson Fury fight, which when was that? Earlier in the year, and he was hoping that Tyson Fury do all right because he's going to put some money on Tyson Fury to win. But then, as we were walking along, he was kind of sort of thinking about what he's hoping for, and he shared that his mum's just had cancer, and she's just come out of treatment, and he's just hopeful that she'd not sort of go into remission, that that it would be dealt with and she'd be back to full strength. And it was very personal moments with some people where they would share such things that are really close to their heart and really tense for them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is just so beautiful. So I'm just kind of looking at the time. We're getting close. You know what? I honestly, Adam, I feel like I could spend an hour just kind of going through this. And I'm seeing this actually. There are people who are misty-eyed responding on the feed here, just kind of being really pulled into these stories that you've curated for us. And also just comments like, you know, we all just want to be seen and heard, and what a powerful way to allow people to be seen and heard. And so just I'm kind of feeling it myself, actually. So just really want to thank you for presenting this gift to us here today. Gosh, I'm just going to look through and see if there's anything else, just kind of as a closing. Just a comment here again from Krista Hyde on the Facebook feed here. What do you hope for has led to such a sacred territory? Was the language that she used, you know, and how beautiful that is. So let's. I mean, we're just a little bit over time, but that's okay. Do you have any, like, maybe just a minute or so, just kind of a closing thought to leave us with here, Adam? I just appreciate so much what you've given.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think we can all be tossed around on the waves of media and headlines and social media, and I think the community that I've spoken to, and by speaking to and asking a personal question, having the camera gave me the permission to ask the question in the first place in some ways, but in asking those questions, it's opened up community in a deeper, richer, more connected way. And the lesson I've learned is that we're way more similar than we'd be led to believe, and we have a lot more in common, and we're a lot closer to one another than I think sometimes we feel we are.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. That just feels so. Yeah. Somebody, Pam Steingard, is saying, "Yeah, tossed around in the waves of the media." Well said. Love what you've done, Adam. Yeah, thank you so much, man. I just really appreciate you sharing this with us, and I think I'm suspecting that I mean, not that this is what this is about, but it's also not about this. I think you've found some followers here today, actually. That this is just very, very compelling, and I know I'm going to spend some time. The website where is this is posted on a website, right? You have this. I know you sent me a link. I did a cursory kind of look through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on my my folio portfolio.
Yeah, that's right. Actually,
website,
Mark posted the link earlier. That's right.
So there's a tab at the top, first 100 days, that you can click through and read people's stories and stuff.
Yeah. So for those who are just tuning in, or who have or who are listening to this in the future, find the comment from Mark Zane that has the link to Adam's site if you want to take a deeper look and really spend some time with this. What a beautiful project. Thank you so much, man. A pleasure to meet you. And
likewise, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's bizarre that we'll be having dinner soon, but
Yes.
I hope you have a good afternoon.
Yeah, I appreciate the strangeness of that. All right, man. So I'm gonna put you back in the other waiting room there, and
Brilliant.
and we have coming up. Just taking a look at my list here. We have Ryan Jordan is coming over.
Oh,
so.
Ryan's a dude. Everyone listen to Ryan. I've just been speaking to him beforehand. He's a cool guy.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, Adam. And we will maybe someday we'll get to share air. That would be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers. Ciao.
All right. Well, everyone, what a gift this is. And here we've got Ryan. So Ryan, if you can unmute yourself. I don't think I have the power to do that actually.
Sorry, I was listening to you finishing off with Adam there.
Yeah. Wow. It was
amazing.
This is the thing. These unexpected moments of discovering and seeing beauty, from different perspectives. And yes. So, hey, man, super glad to have you with us. And for those who are watching, we have a number of people presenting from the UK, and in just being kind to them, we've scheduled earlier so that they're not kind of presenting at 3 a.m. in the morning or some crazy thing. So, so you're what, 5 hours ahead of us? So you're just kind of queuing up for dinner time or something?
Yeah, 5:20.
Yeah.
I'm actually just up the road from Adam, about 5 hours north. I'm in the middle of Scotland.
Okay. Right on. Awesome.
So, yeah, dinner time soon.
Yeah, well, welcome here. So Ryan has, we have a video that's queued up of a song that Ryan has done, and hey, I just give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself and say anything that you want to kind of set the stage, and then and this is actually the first pre-recorded video that we're doing, and so
Okay.
If this falls through at all, then we'll make it work eventually. There's a lot of grace in this room and also on the feed. I know, I'm seeing it. So anyway, introduce yourself and introduce your song.
Thanks, Chris. So my name's Ryan. I am the worship pastor at Vineyard Church, which is sort of right in the middle between Edinburgh and Glasgow. And I lead worship, and I've had my son leading worship with me for the last few years. He plays piano. He's 17. And I started this song called Be Still about 7 years ago. And one of those that I started and then I put down because I hated it. And then I picked it up again because I felt some inspiration, then put it down again because I hated it. And it's based on the verse in Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. I'll be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in all the earth. And so I spent some time with Dave Miller, who is the worship pastor at Trent Vineyard in the UK. Got the song to a point where I thought it was good and played it for my son. And he said, oh, what about this? And he kind of added a bridge. He added the bridge quite easily, which made me feel a little bit jealous that he just came to this stuff. It had taken me years to get to this point. And anyway, we worked on it a bit more, did some more rewriting, and we actually introduced it at church a couple of weeks before the lockdown. And we've sung, 5 or 6 of the songs that I've written or been part of writing, or home written songs anyway, at Falkland Vineyard, and they've gone down well. This one seems to take off probably the best, and it seems to have come at a poignant time for everything that's going on. So I guess that's all really I need to say or want to say at this time. But if you want to just
yeah, that's great. Okay, well, let's cross our fingers and hope that the technology does what I've told it to do. So just hang tight, everyone. Let's see what happens here. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
Oh, you're upside down. Look at that. That's not gonna work here. So what we're gonna do, Chris is just going to pull. When I deal with technology, just so everyone knows, I start talking to myself in the third person. It just kind of helps me to manage my vibe a little bit. So I'm just going to make a quick change here because I definitely want to see Ryan faced up in this video. So just give me 1 second here.
So this video we recorded for our online service a couple of weeks ago. So it's me with my son playing piano.
Awesome. Let's see here. Go to. We got one more thing here. Thank you for your patience, everyone. This is the stuff that I'm talking about when I'm. Wait a minute. Come on now. Oh my goodness.
You're doing a good job, Chris.
Thank you for your grace. So if anyone's just tuning in right now, we are struggling just a little bit with our technology. I'm just gonna try this one more time, and if not, then if I can't get this nailed down, Ryan, what we'll do is I think we'll move on, and then I'll sort it out and kind of include your video in the next kind of broadcast. But I'm still hopeful. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to You can I guess a question to sort of while I'm trying to get this sorted out is how are you guys managing through this season in terms of the COVID, the lockdown? What does this look like for you in your part of the world? Just if you got some thoughts on what that's looking like for you in this time.
I'm married to an Enneagram 7, and so I'm struggling much more with the lockdown than I am. I've actually quite enjoyed the lockdown. I've been on furlough for the last 3 weeks. I don't know if that's a thing in America, but basically I'm getting paid but not working, so I've been busying myself around the house and stuff. We've got three boys, and so far everybody is getting on. We each have our moments or our days, but for the most part I think doing well. But I think it's starting to get a bit old. It feels a bit, it's tiring. It's boring in a sense that you can't get to see your friends and family that are close by. So they might come and visit and stand at the end of your drive, but you can't give the kids a hug and that sort of thing. So a lot of our friends in church are frontline workers in the NHS and healthcare. So we are hearing a lot of stories about what's happening at hospitals and things like that. So it's
such a variety of experience. It's that's part of, I think, the complexity of this time. Hey, I think maybe I got this. So we're going to give this another go here. So Lord, please. For crying out loud. Okay. I am so close, you guys, so extremely close. This is I'm gonna give one more shot here because I am way too close to just let it. Here we go.
You're much calmer than I would be in this situation.
Well, I'm doing my best to. That is so strange. It was working just fine a moment ago. Well, we have other videos. I hope that we're going to be able. I'm just going to see. Yeah, gosh, this is so weird. Ryan, I'm so sorry, man. I'm going to figure this out on the break, and we're going to open up the next session with playing your song, and I'll just kind of give a bit of a caveat for that. Thank you for all the grace on the. We've got comments about the upside down kingdom going on. That's great. Yeah, Corey, I would show it upside down. And it's the. And Larry Levy is going to stand on his head and he's going to be fine. But I can't. The audio wasn't coming through, which is actually the bigger concern.
Okay.
So, apparently people can hear it online. So you know what? You and I won't hear it, but apparently they can. So I'm going to play it after all. Look at that.
Oh, there you go. Whatever you've done's worked.
So now the audio apparently is not working, but maybe I just made a change that possibly did. I am so sorry about this. I'm going to give this 15 seconds for somebody to say whether the audio is working or not. There's a bit of a lag between the feedback that we get. Okay. Well, we're going to come back to that later. Thanks for your grace, man. I whether the audio. Really appreciate that. Okay. So here we go. Well. Okay, everyone. I'm going to pull this up later on, and it'll. There might be something staggering on the feed here. I'm wondering. Well, we're going to come back to that later. For example, whatever that was. Hey, listen, Ryan. Thanks so much. I'm going to try restarting some things, and we're gonna see if this can work. So I'm going to kick you back into the other room, and thanks, dude. So everyone, my apologies for the confusion here. It feels like there is some kind of a strange lag that's taking place. Can you guys hear me right now? Can somebody just reach out and indicate whether you can hear me? That would be super helpful in terms of trying to figure out whatever's going on right now. And if you can't, then it's a challenge because you won't know to comment on this. I'm going to do this on the Facebook feed. And again, for those who are tuning in, just a reminder that this is really a community building space here. Okay, Livia is indicating that you can hear me. That's good. Okay, yeah. So just a reminder, everyone, that this is a community building space, and as much as I would love for this to be seamless, anyone who knows me knows that that's I like to have it be appropriate. The reality is we're going to hit some glitches. So I'm really hoping that the next video works. I am going to pull Pete Simpson over again. Pete's visiting us from the UK, we'll see if we can get into a better scenario here. Hey Pete, if you want to just unmute yourself, I think. Oh no, you're good. You're good. I think I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Hey man, so we did experience a little bit of technical glitching on the last video and weren't able to show it. So I hope that things are set up better for yours, but just to prepare you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. it's like we talked about before in the pre-call. It's like, well, there's some moving parts here. So, Pete, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and tell us about the song that we hope we're going to hear in a minute.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yes. Yeah, I'm from York in England. That's Old York, famously what New York was named after, as it were. We were a city founded by the Romans and taken over by the Vikings, really historic place. And I'm part of York Vineyard, which has been going about 10 years. Prior to that, I was in a church. I was part of a church called St. Michael of Belfry, where John Wimber came to in the early days, back about 40 years ago, when he started coming to England and stuff like that. So that's where I first came across the Vineyard, back in the 80s and 90s, basically. But yeah, the song is basically, I went skiing. I'm a keen skier. I go for a long weekend every year and go. The group of guys would go crazy going down mountains at high speed, and it's adrenaline junkies, as it were. We had a great time, and early February, and I came back and I felt we had a great time stuff. But 2 days later, this was February the 6th, I became very ill, basically, with this terrible, what I thought was just some winter virus, and except that I had real trouble breathing, and and it took forever to get better, really, for the best part of February. A cough like I'd never had before, and just exhaustion and all this stuff. At the time, I never even thought, really. However, subsequently in April, it became known that where I'd been in Austria was actually a source of the virus spreading, actually, within Europe. And it's quite a known thing now. So I still don't know for sure whether I had the virus, but...
Very likely, it sounds like.
Yeah, very likely I have had. Anyway, roll forward a few weeks. I was attending this. We have an annual songwriting summit with the Vineyard, UK and Ireland. It's just a 24-hour thing, songwriting summit. And the guy who runs it, Jimmy, sent out an email. So we all have to write a song, So as any songwriter, I don't know whether you write songs, but you sit there with a blank sheet of paper. What are you going to write about, really? And obviously, I've just been through this horrendous illness, really, I can only say. And by then, it was early March, and fear was building, if you like, and just general unease was starting to. We weren't sure where it was going to go, but it was certainly we weren't locked down or anything like that. But there was general thoughts about the virus, etc. So I guess I just poured out my own personal experience of having gone through this illness and how I'd found God as the healer, my defender when I felt very frightened and anxious, and just some dark nights when I was struggling to breathe, and rescuer, and I even have put the word breath of life, and just creator of the sunrise, that somehow that God is like the creator. And I think of that bit in Genesis where God is hovering over this dark mass, kind of this formless, and somehow God comes to in these dark places where there needs new creation, there needs new life, So it's a very personal song, and just about my journey, really, around that time. And anyway, I shared it at the songwriting summit, and they seemed to quite like it, the guys I shared it with. And so I recorded it when I came back, and shared it with a few friends and stuff, and they seemed to quite like it as well. So subsequent to that, I felt it was right to release it as a single. So I put it on Spotify and iTunes and Apple and stuff like that. So that's where I've got to, really. It was kind of released yesterday as a single on, and just seeing where I go with it, really. Yeah. So as I say, it's a very personal song, really.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, and for just sharing the vulnerability of your story in the space of that. I mean, it's you really have lived through some of the anxiety that is regardless of the diagnosis. Although, I mean, it does, we're all pretty familiar with the MO of this thing, at least as
yes,
it
exactly.
presents. But you've kind of walked through the shadow of things that a lot of people are fearful of and living under the weight of, and so I find it, it's both a sobering thing just to kind of hear that journey, but also encouraging, because here you are singing, able to respond out of that, and
yes,
and sing things like. I sometimes think about expensive language, words that really count. And so when you talk about singing about breath in that, it's all of a sudden this is something that is empowered now by, by your song, right? So, hey, listen,
Nice.
without let's give this a try, and we're going to hope for the very best that this works.
So you're doing such a great job, Chris. I'm loving all the content so far. It's fantastic. So
thanks.
I'm hoping it comes out.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, me too. Me too. Let's give this a go. Oh, I guess they're not able to hear it after all. Well, it's what an interesting experiment. This was all working so well last night, I'm gonna try one thing here, and see if I can get this fixed on your.
I suppose the good thing is that at least with it being released on major platforms, if you give the title and
yes,
they can hear it, or on YouTube. Actually, to be honest, it's all there, type thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna try something here. I think this
the truth in all the lies.
I'm gonna start.
Breath of love and
I
life.
think I may have just landed
My
this.
God.
Hey everyone, sorry for the mix up here. I think it may have this. I'm gonna try it again. And if you're able to not hear when it starts again, please comment in the comments field. That will help me to know, because there's a bit of a discrepancy between your experience and our experience, is what I'm discovering. So we're gonna give this a try, okay?
Healer of the broken, defender of the weak, savior of the world, my God. Creator of the sunrise, redeemer of the poor, rescuer of all, my God. You are Savior, my Redeemer. I worship you with all my heart. You are healer, my defender. I worship you with all my heart. Light in all the darkness, the truth in all the lies, breath of love and life, my God. Releaser of the captives, forgiver of the lost, mightier than all, my God. You are Savior, my Redeemer. I worship you with all my heart. You are healer, my defender. I worship you with all my heart. You are Savior, my Redeemer. I worship you with all my heart. You are healer, my defender. I worship you with all my heart. healer, my God, I worship, creator, defender, my God, I worship, my Savior, my healer, my God, I worship, creator, defender, my God. Healer of the broken, defender of the weak, savior of the world, my God, creator of the sunrise, redeemer of the poor, rescuer of all, my God.
Well, I am pretty sure that they were able to hear that, even though Pete, you and I were not able to. So I'm just seeing feedback coming through. I don't know if you were able to monitor on the Facebook feed there from your end, but just some really, really encouraging. Ray Van Gogel, he talks about the light in all the darkness. He's got the little fire emojis, and. Yeah, just thank you for the gift of your song. I mean, I've listened to it in prepping for this, but I didn't get a chance to sit with it too much, just kind of assembling all of this. I wish I had heard it so that I could kind of interact specifically. But just want to give a moment for anyone, if there's anyone who has on the feed here, some other comments or questions before we let you go. But as a fellow songwriter, just to say thank you for stepping out and allowing the story that you have lived in to breathe into the language of worship, and just for kind of pressing through. You know, there's something about the hard-fought stories that we get to tell in worship. You know, sometimes we can be handed language that's really good language. You know, but then there's, like we talked about earlier, the language when you really, it's like you've lived it, and then it comes from this other place, and it becomes a very precious gift. So thank you for that. Yeah, I have a comment here. Sounds like your hope was very real throughout your illness. Do you have any parting words for us? Any parting thoughts, kind of as somebody who has been through the thick of it, and you know?
Yeah. Well, only to say, I think like a lot of us, I feel. I mean, I don't know the theology of all this, do you? And I don't think any of us know the theology of all this, what's happening, except there's some very positive things going on, isn't there? Certainly over here in England, I would say that. I mean, I live in a small village and of only about 400 or 500 people, and we had just become so broken. We weren't a community anymore, and I can maybe blame myself over that. What did I do? But now, you know, it's just so different. We're all locked down, so we go out for daily exercise every day, and we're looking after each other, and we're communicating with each other and appreciating each other, and there's just something extraordinary going on. And so, as I say, I don't know the theology of it. I don't understand that. I'm not an expert to understand all that. But all I can say is that there seems some good coming out of it that we actually all want to hang on to. And certainly where I live, you know, I don't know whether you've got any similar experiences from where you are, Chris. But
yeah, well, I mean, it really is a new world to kind of live into and try to reorient inside of. And so I think there's a lot of transformation that's taking place, and I think, you know, there's some gifts to be discerned in that too, you know, kind of to what you're talking about. Just before I let you go, now the people can get this on iTunes, you said. Do they look up like Pete Simpson?
Yeah, just Pete Simpson, My God, Healer of the Broken, or Spotify, or Apple, whatever your platform, and on YouTube as well. There's varying versions of it.
Yes, and so here's something I want to say to everybody, because Pete didn't say this, but I'm going to say this. So if you listen to it on Spotify, that's fine. But if you really like it and you like Pete, buy it on Apple, iTunes, or if there's another website or some other way where you can actually. It means a lot. It's great to have your music listened to, and I know that all of us would say that same thing. That's why we create. But also just to say, find a place where you can actually, if you have some resources. I know it's a crazy time for that, and I know all of us, extend that grace. But I do want to pull you into giving Pete a little bit of money for the song would be a real gift. Hope it's okay that I said that, Pete.
It's fine. Oh, thanks so much again, Chris. And I'm loving everybody's content and loving being together for this day. It's just really special. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, so I am going to invite Renee now to come onto the line, and this is going to continue to be a bit of an experiment for us, in that Renee is going to join us on by phone. And I don't know that she knows this yet, so I'm just going to send her over here and see if we can hear her, because I would love to have Renee introduce her song. And so, Renee, I think you can hear me. You may need to unmute yourself, though. I'm not sure that I'm able to do that. Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. It's great to hear you. Can't see you, but hearing you is great. So welcome to the festival here. Just a heads up, we have had a little bit of technical difficulty that we've been running through with the pre-recorded videos, but I'm hopeful that I can figure it out so that if you and I can't hear it, at least that the rest of the listeners and viewers can. So just want to give you a moment to introduce yourself, Renee, and maybe just give some thoughts about the song that we are going to listen to.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So my name is Renee Card. I'm the worship pastor at River City Vineyard. I think I've been leading worship for, I've been on a team for over 14 years. I've been a leader for over 10. So yeah, I guess the song just kind of, the line of the chorus, it's a simple song, and that line is, "Our God is in control." And that's how the song started. I think it was probably mid-March that the song started coming to life, just right around when the lockdowns started happening and we all had to stay at home. So I think this line maybe was my own way to keep myself sane, as we just didn't know what we were going to be facing yet. So just that line kind of started, and then each line, as I sat down at the piano, just kind of took the time, and the song kind of built itself around that line. It really is a song to remind myself and hopefully others how God really is in control of this thing. There's such a high level of fear and panic, and there's so many unknowns that we just don't know about. So this song was just kind of birthed, I think, like I said, speaking probably mostly to myself, just as a reminder that God is really in control of this thing, and He can take so many terrible things and turn them into pieces of beauty. And we've already seen that through this virus. So, yeah, that's really kind of the backstory of the song.
That's great. Thank you so much for contributing it. And I have to say that when I opened up the song and listened to it, sorry, I kicked my microphone. I really resonated with it as well, and I'm just really glad to be able to feature this here, and I hope that we do indeed feature it. That's the very real intent here. So if folks can stay with me for a moment, I am going to make sure and see if I can get this rolling here for us. And Renee, if you don't hear anything, don't panic. It doesn't mean that those who are watching the video can't. That's part of the conundrum that we're in here for just a moment. So
sounds good.
Yeah, let's give this a go here. Thanks everyone for your patience again. I so appreciate it.
Kind of nice in a sense, but it's hard. It's very strange to not have a regular routine and to not be able to go out and about as I please. It's hard to be at home and have to spend so much time at home. The good part about it is I've been able to do some songwriting, and I just wanted to share a song with you that I've been working on. Just kind of started as a few lines in my head, and I've been working on it over the past couple of weeks. So I'm just hoping that this song will provide maybe some encouragement and hope to those of you that are having a hard time with this. Just like I am, I'm really missing my church family. I'm really missing our Sunday mornings together. But be encouraged that this will end and we will get to meet again at some point. But until then, yeah, I just wanted to share this song with you that I've written. It's called Our God is in Control. Quieting the voice of fear inside. You are here. You are in your presence, darkness runs and hides. You are here. Perfect peace that only you provide. You are here. You are here. God, you are the shelter yeah, our God is in control even through all of this. He's got us. So I hope this song is just a little bit of encouragement for you during this hard time.
Well, it looks like there was success again. We weren't able to hear it in our
Yay!
ears, but I'm so glad that everyone else was. And Krista Tilley made the comment. She said, "Love the jump up the octave. Sing it, girl."
Oh, thanks, Krista.
Yeah, no, thanks for your gift in that song. And I also just want to take a moment, Renee, on the phone in front of everybody, because why not? Just to say, in even the introduction and the way that you kind of framed the song to your community from the video that you shared with us, I just really appreciate the pastoral heart that you carry in this time and in your music and in your community, and just to sort of really call that out. We've had conversations in the past about the step into kind of the worship pastor world, and just to say that is an example of a job really well done, and to narrate. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to curate other songs that are out as part of the body of Christ, and to bring them forward as helps and as handles and handholds and language for people, but to actually articulate out of your own story and the story of your community is such a gift. And so I just want to thank you for that, and also just to sort of celebrate that in you, because that's a great gift that you have. So.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. So there.
Fine.
Awesome. Is there anything that you want to just say, kind of as a parting send off? I am going to. We're going to play the video that we missed earlier. Now that I think we have it, and so we're going to give that a go as the send off to this first session. We'll be beginning again at 2. But Renee, anything else that you just wanted to add in there?
I just want to say thank you for letting me be part of this and putting this whole thing together in a time that, we're a little more isolated. It's really neat to have something like this just to help us all feel a little more connected. So just thank you very much for letting me submit the song and be a part of this.
Well, thank you. It's a gift to have you be part of it. So that's fantastic. All right. Well, Renee, have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to put you back into that green room, which you're in the phone, so it probably doesn't really signify much for you. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for that as a gift.
Yes.
Actually, it's not letting me do that. That's fine. So what I am going to do here, so folks, what we're going to try, a couple of comments. Renee, such a simple statement loaded with power. Our God is in control. And some real resonance as well from others. Beautiful, powerful, truthful words to fall on, blessings and hugs. Just it's a real gift to us. So thank you for bringing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, folks, what we're going to try to do here, and this is going to send off our time. We're going to take a bit of a break after this and come back at 2 o'clock. So it should be the same feed. I hope that's the plan. But what I do want to just say is when I start this video, Ryan's video, it may start off quiet, silent. There's a little thing I have to do to fix, I think, what I've discovered here in this. And so it may start off quiet, but I'm going to do my very best to turn on the volume as quickly as possible. So, and then once the song is done, I'll come on and send us off for what is for me lunch. So here we go. Let's hope for the best. Hey, actually, maybe I can do this before. Maybe I can. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's got to do it this way.
was Rachel. Be still, be still. Oh, my heart, be still when the battle comes. Be still. Be still, though my heart be still. Was Rachel. Be still, be still. Though my heart be still when the battle comes. Be still and know He is God. And trust in His love. I'm holding on to everything You said. I'm standing on Your promises. All my hope in You. You promised You'll never leave my side. Your love is something You'll never hide. All my hope in You. Be still, and oh my heart, be still, and was Rachel. Be still, be still, and oh my heart, be still, when the battle comes. Be still, and know He is God. And trust in His love. I'm holding on to everything You said. I'm standing on Your promises. All my hope in You. You promised You'll never leave my side. Your love is something You'll never hide. All my hope in You. I'm holding on to everything You said. I'm standing on Your promises. All my hope in You. You promised You'll never leave my side. Your love is something You'll never hide. All my hope in You. Praise is the weapon, my shield in the fight. The rising song of freedom, it sees me through the night. When the darkness tries to overcome the light, now sing louder and louder, sing Jesus in reply. Praise is the weapon, my shield in the fight. The rising song of freedom, it sees me through the night. When the darkness tries to overcome the light, now sing louder and louder, singing Jesus in reply. Now sing louder and louder, singing Jesus in reply. I'm holding on to everything You said. I'm standing on Your promises. All my hope in You. You promised You'll never leave my side. Your love is something You'll never hide. And all my hope in You.
Well, friends, Ryan, just to kind of comment, I know you're on the feed there, which is great. I'm so glad you stuck around and that we were able to figure it out and we were able to hear your song. Thank you for your patience and your graciousness in that. I just want to say how much I love this feedback that's coming through here on the feed. Thank you for your comments, because part of it is it's encouraging to the songwriter and to the creative, whoever's presenting. It's very encouraging. But the other thing that I want to mention that's really unique about this way of gathering, which of course has its constraints, but one of the things that's incredible about this is that when we speak to something that that resonates in us, it allows us to give a filter to others who are engaging this as well, right? And so there's just something about that, almost the way that if you're familiar with the reading scripture, Lectio Divina, where sometimes there's a word or a phrase that will suddenly just pop out a little bit. When we comment and say, wow, this phrase just really meant a lot to me. For example, I'm holding on to everything you say. I'm standing on your promises. Somebody made a comment that just really resonated for them. And that's actually a gift to all of us, right? And again, be still, oh my heart, be still. So these little moments and comments, keep them coming throughout the rest of this, because it's both encouragement to the songwriter as well as we're actually, in some way, we're almost singing the song together. Does that make sense? Because there's a chorus of in a harmony of response. And so I'm just really loving seeing those come in. With regards to these songs, I will allow, that's not what I meant to say. For the contributors, make sure that you have links to all of your pieces that you've presented in the comments field, and I'll try to figure out if there's a way for me to pin those to the top. I'm not sure, but we'll try to make them available for people to find if they're on YouTube or if they're available for purchase somewhere. So this brings us to the close of session 1 of the Creative Festival. I thank you for your graciousness with regards to the tech, but boy, this has felt like a really beautiful time together. I'm really grateful. So we're coming back here in about 45 minutes, and we'll come in for session 2. We have 4 of these sessions. We're basically running for 12 hours with a couple of 1-hour breaks in between. And so there's a lot more to come that I'm super excited about. So tune in. And again, it's not that it's about having massive impact or viewership, but you know what? If this feels like it's something that people in your circle would be encouraged by, please, let them know about this happening. Send them the links. It'll be on the Vineyard Canada Facebook page. Vineyard.ca is an easy way to jump onto it as well, and on YouTube. Great affection, everyone. We'll see you in about 45 minutes. All right. Take care. Oh, where did it?